it's time to smoke that Vol pack today. Welcome to the DGD podcast. As always, Robert Reynolds, Juan Daniels, Kobe Pierce coming at you hot and heavy on this Monday morning or lunchtime, I should say. Guys, so about this number one team, anybody want to care to explain what the hell happened there?
Juan, you want to go first?
Well, I told everybody that would listen. I told everybody, I preached it from the mountaintops that Tennessee has not played against a team like Georgia. I mean, they haven't faced that defense. Everybody on Tennessee's schedule that they blew out or that they were beating, we would beat them hands down. I mean, it was not even close. And then the thing that should have tipped you off was that Pitt game. When Pitt took Tennessee into overtime, I already knew that Tennessee were pretenders. And there's no way that we would be able to even, make it a close game against Pitt. We would have blown them out of the water.
Yeah, I just think that we really go back to talking about, like we talked about last week, it just had that feeling of that 2017 Auburn game of everybody's talking about you, a second-year head coach, really, talking about how great you are. You could be the best team in the country. And you hear all that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And coaches can say, oh, we don't listen to that. We ignore all that. That's fine. But it's like Kirby said in his post-game press conference. What's the first thing those kids run to after a game? This right here. They're running to this, running to Twitter, running to see what was said about me today, what's said about us today. And all they've heard is, y'all beating the first team to beat Alabama in all these years, and y'all might be national championship contenders. And then they really came into the King's house, and they learned really quick that there's a long way to climb that mountain before you're at the top.
See, I feel like Kobe could run to his phone. Juan, you probably ran to the Alexander Graham Bell special.
I actually did hieroglyphics. And,
hieroglyphics.
Juan had to wait. Juan had to wait for the Morse code to be translated.
Yeah, exactly.
Juan Daniels,
horse, and then send that through the pigeon, carrier pigeon. So it took a while to get there.
Cavemen make fire. Ugga, ugga, ugga. No, in all seriousness, though, listen. Obviously, our show Wednesday. After that, though, there was a lot more rat poison, if you will, going into Tennessee's veins. Eric Ainge decided to make the mistake of the century. Obviously he has apologized, but you don't do that stuff, man. You're going – listen, 07, 06, whatever, I forgot what year it was. It's an entirely different environment, entirely different culture. Boy, oh boy, did Dog fans and all across Sanford Stadium. Kobe, you were in there. Listen, I went over to a friend's house. They were Bama fans, and they called a different side of me from the time I walked through their door. The first thing I said, legitimately, was, "We're about to show y'all how to beat UT." First thing I said. I left. The last thing I said was, "Told you so." Listen. I was in rare form. That was the first time they had seen me open up to a level that I was. I mean, probably because the games that we played before that I was over there, it wasn't, listen, Auburn, come on. A lot different than this game Saturday. Which, speaking of Bama, we're going to talk about them in just a little bit too, so stay tuned on that. It's a whole different subject. Mike D says Sanford Stadium was wild. Apparently, Pat says he only apologized because he got trashed. It was not sincere. Of course, dude, he's a Tennessee Vol fan. They don't even know what that means. Don't say sincere. They might not know how to spell it either. Listen, they had it coming. All week, they had it coming. So, from here on out, this is what you get. This is what happens when the number one team comes, you come to the number one team. You get your ass whipped. Listen, you can sit there, and I've heard it since Saturday. Oh, the rain did this. The rain changed everything. Dude, we were beating your ass. We were scoring more points. We were doing the Tennessee stuff before the rain stopped. The rain helped us out, by the way. It helped y'all out. it saved y'all from even more of an ass whipping. That's all I'm going to say. Because I don't see things changing even without the rain. I
The
think
moment,
I think it would have been worse.
The moment the rain fell, we went into the shell, went into safe mode, and went in to get out of here without anybody getting hurt or anything going crazy. Run the ball, bleed clock, kick a couple field goals, and let's get to the house.
Listen, you couldn't have drew it up any better because once the rain started coming down, the anaconda tightened up real fucking tight, real tight, and we saw that on full display. Because let's be honest, as much as Tennessee fans want to sit there and say that, oh, yeah, it was only a 14-point loss, this the rain changed everything, this and that. I don't think they understand that maybe they didn't pay attention, or maybe they weren't watching the same game or something. Kobe, we only threw the ball 4 times in the second half. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 for y'all dumbass ball fans that can't count. Four times that we passed the ball. And still we had what? Stetson had 250 plus yards, 3 total touchdowns. Oh yeah, by the way, hey guys, good luck trying to call him again. Shows your dumbass fan base know what to do. Regardless though, listen, dominating defense, dominating offense, right? I think the narrative coming into this game was, can Georgia's defense stop the offense? Of course you can. If listen, I saw what I saw Saturday, and from what I saw, there was no question. Period.
Yeah, if you look at it, my biggest thing is containing Hyatt. They did an excellent job of containing Hyatt. They got to the
Malachi fucking Starks.
Six sacks. 6 sacks. I mean, and this is supposed to be this high-profiled, super-duper, unbelievable offense, and all you can do is score 13 points. So the other thing, too, the other stat I think was fantastic is Tennessee and Oregon are the highest scoring offenses by average in the nation, and you gave up to both teams a total of 16 points. 16 points. So that goes back to the question that was asked last week, and that's what I said. I said, we'll see after this week. Is Georgia's defense just as good as it was, as the one from last year? Man, it is pretty outstanding. And Tennessee was not hitting on all cylinders like they were. They were hitting on all cylinders this year, but not like they were last year. We only gave up 17 points. But for them to be as high profile, to have this Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback, and you only give up 13 points, our defense is outstanding.
Which leads me to believe this, guys. I think there's a serious question here. Which defense is more dominant, and which do you look at last year? Or do you look at this year now? After seeing what we saw Saturday, I think there's a legit question that could be debated. Which defense is scarier? And honestly, I'm starting to think that potentially, right, when things are all said and done, and when everything's done, and whatever, this year's defense could be even better than last. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. You lose 5 first-rounders on the defense. I get it. But what we're able to do now, we're doing it in different ways, and we're shutting down everything, whereas last year we were kind of limited to what we could do. But it also stems to the offense. The offense is able to do whatever it wants. It literally whatever it wants. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, at one point I saw our average first down yards per play on first down was over 10. That means on first down, every single snap was a first down in theory, right? We were getting 10 yards plus every first down. That is stupid. That's stupid. To all these media folks all week, Georgia deserves an apology. Whether you give it to us or not, I don't give a shit. But do not disrespect the Dogs. It's that simple, because we're just showing you that we're on the track for a repeat, because I don't see another team as complete as Georgia right now. And if y'all want to explain a team that might be in that realm, let me know, because I'm here for it.
There's not, and it's crazy because do I think that we can match up against Alabama? Absolutely. And I actually predicted us to go 13-0 and then go to the playoffs. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't mad or that I wasn't upset that Alabama will not be in that talk anymore. I mean, they're gone. They're absolutely eliminated, and they're going to have a tough game against Ole Miss this week. For them, but we won't see Alabama. We won't have to deal with them. So our path to a national championship has just gotten that much better.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely on a year like this year, it would have been a nice year to kind of put to bed again the you only beat us because we're missing two of our best receivers. It would have been another it would have been another good time to have seen that we can beat Nick Saban multiple times, no matter what team you put out on the field.
Yeah. So that's based off of how Tennessee handled Alabama, at least offensively, there's no way that they would have been able to score and do things on our defense. I mean, they struggled against LSU's defense. Our defense is 10 times better than LSU's. So,
and they struggled containing the tight end. Talk about a problem. If you struggle containing LSU's tight end, who's a good tight end,
a freshman. Don't get
me wrong, he's a really good player, but we got three of those guys.
Yep.
I mean, good luck. And it always does my heart happy just talking about good tight ends. Hearing Jordan Rodgers all week just dog us about how this offense isn't explosive. Like their crutch is their tight end. They lean on the tight end too heavy. They haven't had a receiver in 28 quarters catch a pass over 30 yards. And then it's just like, eat all of that at one time.
Too much to process.
Did a great job. So again, it was just more along the lines of, will Stetson take care of the ball? He did that. Will we contain Hyatt? We did that. And, we were able to run the football. And, and I'll tell you what, it just tells you what type of a team that we are. Tennessee goes up 3-0. We had a big time fumble by one of our guys. And, they were just like, yeah, it's fine. We'll take care of it. We got you.
I mean, if you look at it, we really had a couple of turnovers, both fumbles. And if you watch Stetson, it was like, in my opinion, that just means they were extremely confident in the defense. They were extremely confident in everything, in all facets of the game, which leads me to this. I want to get y'all's question. I want to get y'all's takes here. Play of the game. In my opinion, I'm going to start off with this because I want to get this out of the way first. Brett Thorson, the booming onion. My God, what a punt. What a punt. Honestly, I think that was the momentum changer for the rest of the game.
And you want to know what's important? You want to know what I noticed the most about that punt, and Dog fans will enjoy this. Nyland Green absolutely busting his nuts off to get to that ball. The ball's going to go out of bounds at the one anyways, but he is hauling as the field side gunner to get there. He had the longest run of anybody to get there, and he does make it as the ball's going out of bounds, but it's like he's only playing special teams right now, and it matters to him. Like, those are the kind of guys that Kirby's recruiting, that Kirby's keeping on campus. It's just like he said in the postgame presser, we took nobody out of the portal because he has who he wants right now. He has guys that want to be there, that want to be at Georgia, that want to play for Georgia. And that guy's going to have to wait probably till next year to play significant snaps on the defense, but he wants it.
Oh, no doubt. And we all know how Kirby values special teams play. And that, I guarantee you, that is going to be checkmarked in Kirby Smart's notebook of thoughts right there moving forward. But listen, some of the best plays of the game were from our secondary, right? We knew that we had a better secondary than last year, but my goodness, they came to fucking play. You had Javon Bullard playing absolutely lights out. But we thought, I think I may even said this, I thought Keely Ringo could be a liability in this, depending on how things played out. He proved me wrong. Listen, I thought Keely Ringo scored a damn touchdown, receiving touchdown, with how well he ran that route for Tillman. You could not run a coverage that better again. He ran it perfectly on that pick. It was insane how these guys were playing that lights out the entire time. It's that simple. It's insane. I'm here for it though, because you had guys. I think the key to our victory here, we talked about as well, open field tackling, one-on-one tackling, wrapping up. This defense was silly how well they did those things, and ultimately it just stopped Tennessee from being able to do anything. It's just point blank, they couldn't do anything. So I'm looking at it in a sense of like, good luck trying to. If you want to try this again, good luck. I don't think it ain't going to change nothing. It won't at all, for that matter. Michael B says, "Did you also notice who was on special teams that play? JDJ, Brock, Arian, and I believe Smile. Yeah, dude, the best players play on special teams. Special teams. Um, let's talk about this, guys. False starts. We heard Eric Ainge say prior to the game that it was over. Sanford Stadium was overrated. Vols won't have an issue. A bunch of Vol fans saying that, oh, our offense is too fast that we can mitigate this, mitigate the noise.
Even Heupel, even
Bullshit.
Heupel himself said that he just didn't think noise was going to be an issue.
Yeah, and boy, were they wrong. Like I said, dude, Dog Nation probably gets the best game ball, which we're about to do in just a second. Game ball goes to damn Dog Nation. 100, I want to say 132. Kobe, if I'm not mistaken, they were showing on the board 132. I've heard even, I don't know, I can't.
I want to see an official. I want something official to come out. I saw Harry Dog put out today like 133 and some change.
Mike D saying 134 in the brigade right now.
But Kirby put it best. It was deafening, and what is more deafening than deafening? I mean, you could not hear.
Even Hyatt said it affected him. I mean, Hyatt came out and admitted that the noise affected them. Sure.
Listen, you can prepare. I don't care how much you prepare. That noise at a sustained rate, I want to say a sustained rate of like 125. Dude, I guarantee you their ears are still ringing today.
Yeah. And that's equivalent to the Neyland Stadium. I mean, you always know that, when you go to Tennessee Stadium, they start screaming from the time that the coin is flipped. And so we actually gave them a taste of their own medicine to see, what that's like to have that,
Mike Dudley said he was on the 600 levels, folks. That's the top of Sanford Stadium, about where the lights are, if you will.
No, I think that's above the flags. I think that's above where the flags are.
My man was. I guarantee if you go back CBS shooting, you see the shot of the national title flag. Mike D's just sitting there hanging onto it.
Yeah, peeking through the clouds. I mean, he was up there.
That's in the lightning strike zone when it starts raining. Yeah. That's when you're like,
I need to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But no, listen though, we talked about that, right? Like, Kirby called it out. He called on the Dogs, basically saying, "Hey, we need y'all to be loud." By God, did they answer the call, dude? You're sitting there watching that game on TV, and you're just like, "Holy shit!" like just watching it on TV, let alone in the stadium, and you're just like, "Whoa." Listen. Also, we don't mic the crowd. We don't do that at all. So that is all natural, folks.
Oh, natural.
Yes, sir. Listen, I want to do this. Let's give our game balls. All right. I think it's easily acceptable that you get one game ball, right? One game ball goes to the crowd, because that had a huge impact on the game. So I think Mike said 10 false starts, illegal procedures, all these different types of penalties. That made a difference. And when you we're about to talk about this, when we sacked the quarterback one of 6 times, it got stupid loud. So you have to give the first game ball to the crowd. Kobe, I'm gonna let you start. Who is your game ball going to?
I think we talked about it. Definitely, I think just Keely Ringo answered the call. I mean, he he had a really good year last year as a sophomore, and not that I wouldn't even say has struggled this year. That would not be the word I would put. But like we've talked about, his confidence almost in phase with the runner has just not been there. We saw it against, I think, Vanderbilt. We saw it again against Florida, where he's running step for step with a receiver, and it's almost like when the ball's in the air, he tended to panic, and all of a sudden, in that panic, he jumped instead of knowing I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Just play the ball, and you saw him do that perfectly on his interception. He's running step for step with their receiver, and then the end, he actually is outrunning their receiver to the ball. In the middle of the play, he goes from DB to receiver, and their receiver goes from receiver to DB, and he's running to go catch that touchdown. And he does. And that's the kind of player he is. He's big, he's physical, and he's fast. And I just think that he had a big game. You know, they still threw a couple comeback routes on him. He made some big tackles. And we really just played contain on, you know, not letting them take the top off. But Keeleringo gets my game ball.
Michael B says it seems as they preferred to attack Keeley instead of Kamari. That was interesting. Listen, we talk. There's a lot to go on there, defensive scheming and everything. You looked at Malachi and Kamari playing the boundary where Hyatt was most of the time, and it seemed like Tillman was matched up with Keeley. Like I said, you can't run a better route in coverage that Keeley did on that pick. So it makes sense. Listen, there's a lot of game balls that you could give out, but Juan, who are you giving your game ball to?
I'm giving it to the defense. Again,
whole unit. You're saying whole unit.
The whole unit, but there's a couple of reasons. Number one, you've got the second highest scoring team in the nation, and you only give up 13 points. And then for 6 sacks, I mean, this is a big time offense. They usually get the ball out pretty quick. I said last week that Hooker looked kind of confused. He looked a little bit kind of rattled, or not necessarily like he knew what to do against Kentucky. So I knew for a fact that, when he played against us, it was going to be bad. And for him to go down 6 times, for that defense to play absolutely lights out. I mean, they played lights out.
Yeah, I mean, you had Jalen Carter in the end zone. Jalen Carter was a menace. Javon Bullard, like I said, played lights out. You have, Keeley with the pick. The defense was swarming. Malachi Starks, good Lord, the closing speed on Malachi Starks, not getting caught in between run help and getting beat over top. We didn't see that, and it saved a lot. Also, if you notice, the defensive line was winning their one-on-ones, getting pressure, getting bodies into Hendon Hooker, causing him to sell some of those passes. Listen, there were times where our DBs got just a little bit behind, one step behind, but the defensive pressure up front forced the ball to sell. And if you notice, a lot of those were selling. And that was a continual problem, right? They couldn't get anything going, deep shots, but also we were able to stuff the run. So overall defense, like I said, like you said, Juan, willing and deserving, makes sense 100%. As far as game balls for me, though, I'm going offense, though, guys. I'm going offense. Give me the offensive line. I want to give it to Stetson because he earned it. I want to give it to Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint because he earned it. But give me the offensive line. Coming in and keeping Stetson crystal clear. That red jersey did not look dirty at all. No sacks allowed. You have Broderick Jones looking like a damn man possessed. I don't know if y'all remember in the second half, it pouring down rain, the Lad McConkey catch and run off that little screen. You see Broderick Jones coming in the picture right before him and just plowing the two defenders. Things like that go a long way to me. Like I said, you allowed Stetson to have the pocket to hit the deep balls that we were been waiting to see happen. We were waiting for these deep balls to connect, and boy, did they ever. Arian Smith making a play, Lad McConkey going off against a team that thought he was too small. It's just poetic justice. My goodness. So I'm giving the entire offensive line a game ball. Period. kept him clean. You can't ask for a better game against them, especially when they tried to get to the quarterback, and you just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, and you dominated up front, allowing the run game to take off. So, shout outs there. What do y'all say we talk about college football playoff though? Because there's a lot that happened, and I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's take it.
Before we wrap this part up, though, I do have to say I saw one sign that cracked me up, and it just said, "I hope that Hendon, I hope that Hooker likes it doggy style." And it was DAWGY, doggy style. I thought that was clever, and that's how he took it. That's how he took it.
Yeah, one sports culture right there, doggy style. It's simple. It's that simple. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back. We got a lot to talk about the college football playoff scenario, how it's shaping up, and we're also gonna give you our CFB poll. So stick around after this, and we'll come back and talk college football playoffs. All right, folks. Tennessee was not the only one to take an L. God, if you're a Georgia fan, you're loving this because hear this list of L's. Obviously, Tennessee, Bama lost in overtime to LSU, and the Taters, they lost too, right? They lost too. So the entire, I guess you could say, the entire playoff picture is up for grabs right now, and it's just a chaotic clusterfuck, basically. Listen, Georgia asserted themselves as the number one team in the country. I think you could argue Michigan and Ohio State being in that same realm in 2 or 3 range. But who to make a 4, right? So what we're going to do here, first off, what happened with Bama? I just don't get it. I do get it, but did you see it happening? I didn't see it. Now, I will tell you one thing I didn't see, guys. I did not see Clemson getting manhandled the way that they did. I thought that there could have been a struggle game. I did not expect that kind of blowout. What are y'all's takeaways on the Bama and Clemson losses?
Well, it's funny because, if you watch College Game Day, and then everybody was saying that there were 2 teams that were on upset alert, and that was Clemson, which I thought, no, there's no way. And then they said, Alabama going down into Baton Rouge, and sure enough, that happened. I did not expect Notre Dame to manhandle Clemson the way that they did. I mean, that was pretty bad. And this is a team that lost to Marshall, and they also lost to a bad Stanford team. And then they go up there and dominate the, supposed number 4 team in the, in the playoffs, which I just kind of felt like Clemson was overrated. There's no way that they should even have been there in the first place, and they got exposed.
Ooh, Kobe, what do you say, sir?
I'm just happy because all we heard all offseason was this could be, on paper, the best Alabama team that Nick Saban has ever coached. And they have lost 2 games, and they've also played in 2 other games that have been a 1-score affair. So at some point, it not saying, and I think people are quick, oh, the dynasty's over, the king is dead. But it just definitely – Alabama fans aren't used to it. They're not used to last year losing to, former assistants. That streak died, 2 losses in a year. You're not used to losing to Georgia in a national championship. And then you're not used to losing to Tennessee this year. You haven't lost to them in 15 years. And, you're not used to losing down in Baton Rouge, and you've lost there too. And your season's not over. Like Juan said, I mean, you still have to play Ole Miss this week that God forbid Lane Kiffin and his social media beats Nick. I mean, he'll drag that for a long time.
It'll be it'll be the best show job ever.
There'll be hoodies galore. I mean, I don't even know what all the merch Lane could sell doing that, but he won't shut up. It'll be a whole off season of him not shutting up.
I can't be mad about it because I'm here for it.
But I'm here for it. Clemson, we all hate Clemson though. Just like, not hate, but I don't know.
You get annoyed with them easily.
We're little Clemson, and we just hope we can compete with the big SEC gets old. And they squeak by. Oh, Syracuse so good. Well, they're a 3-loss team. Oh, NC State so good. Well, no, they're not actually either. And then you have, you roll into Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's not great. I mean, like Juan said, they lost to Marshall. They lost a pretty bad Stanford team. And, you just got embarrassed, honestly. A roster full of 5-star athletes, a defense that's supposed to be all-world, you just got embarrassed.
Yep. Oh, real quick, I know we were talking about game balls for the for the game. My other game ball goes to Rudes for making an appearance. He had a video in the chat. So if you're not in our chat, he actually made an appearance, man. So it was good to see you, Rudes, my man.
I'm just gonna let you know this. Also, we're gonna shit out here. Jared Ashton Daniels with 2 rushing Stanford, future QB1 there. Got to be a proud, got to be a proud moment for Juan. Yeah, but let's go do this. Let's do this, folks. Here's the DGD College Football Playoff as we had it, right? We'll start off with 1 through 6. You're gonna love this, folks. Georgia, number 1, where we've always been and should always stay. We're gonna flip Michigan and Ohio State. We're gonna flip them. So number 2 is Michigan. Number 3 is Ohio State. Number 4, Tennessee. TCU. My fault. TCU coming in at 4. Oregon Ducks at 5, and those Vols at 6. Guys, I think that's a good top 6 there. Just gonna leave that there. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I agree. I think that Michigan right now is a better football team than Ohio State. Ohio State playing a Northwestern team that was 1-7, and they pretty much struggled with them the whole game. That was just kind of inexcusable. And I think that when they play Michigan, I think Michigan kind of runs over them. But that's for another time. But
listen, even in a monsoon, though, you need to be able to run the ball if you want to be a top team.
Yep.
Period.
I just think after watching football this year, we're through 9 games now. I just think, we all know we're 1, but I think Michigan has the next most complete looking team. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They have a quarterback who is a good quarterback. They have a running back who is in Heisman talks. I mean, they have a solid offensive line, and they play above average defense. I mean, I think they're like the 3rd or 4th in like scoring defense behind us and maybe Illinois. They look even better than maybe the Michigan team that we beat last year does. Are they quite on our level still? Probably not, but to me they're a clear 2 over Ohio State, who really kind of tends to be a one-trick pony, kind of like Tennessee.
Ooh, all right. So what we're going to do here, we're going to finish out here. So we gave you the top 6. So you're looking at 7. You're looking at the Tigers, the Bayou Bengals, and LSU come on off that win. Listen, deserving there. Number 8, USC Trojans. 9, UCLA Bruins. 10, Ole Miss. 11. Finally hear Alabama's name called at 11. We're going 12, Utah. 13, North Carolina. 14, Penn State. All the way down to 15, you're looking at Clemson. That loss is inexcusable. 16, Tulane. 17, Liberty. Speaking of Liberty, also beating Arkansas. Didn't really see that coming. 18, NC State. 19, the Longhorns of Texas. Illinois coming in at 20. Entering the CFP poll at 21, Notre Dame, folks. Yes, Notre Dame. 22, UCF. 23, Kansas State. 24, after this ass whipping, Florida State enters the CFP poll. And rounding out the top 25 is Washington Huskies. I want to hear y'all's thoughts real quick, guys. What are some spots that y'all thought were pretty interesting and justifications for why? I'm looking at it this way, guys. We have to put Notre Dame and Florida State into this situation. Listen, I understand Miami's terrible, but 45-3 it's an ass whipping, right? It's a pure ass whipping. But also, they've played good football. So putting Florida State in wasn't too difficult. And also Notre Dame. Listen, we want to give Notre Dame shit for the 3 losses, but outside of that, they've played some good football as of late. They really have. So dominating. Go ahead.
I think your big thing is I think those rankings for both of them, Notre Dame at 21, when it comes out, they may be closer to 24, 25, sneaking in kind of, but you have to reward big wins. And to me, you're looking at Florida State beat LSU and honestly should have beat them by 10. It should not have been a 1-point game the way it was. And to say that LSU's kind of bounced back and beaten an Alabama who you had as a top 6 team, it just shows you it's like, okay, well, maybe Florida State has had some hiccups down the road, but they actually are a good football team. I feel like Notre Dame's kind of similar. First year head coach, Brian Kelly has been there since I don't even know how long his tenure was at Notre Dame. So those first 2 games of the year, really Freeman's figuring out what it is to be a head coach, what it is to coach more than just the defense, what it kind of takes to have a complete game plan. And, like we talked about, you don't lose a embarrassing game to Marshall and you don't slip up and lose that game to Stanford. You really could be talking about Notre Dame as one of your top 4 or 5 teams. So I definitely believe that they deserve to get in as well. It'll be interesting to see what the committee thinks about Clemson. I know we all kind of have a vendetta against Clemson and dropping them to 15. Maybe a little harsh, but it'll be interesting to see what the committee kind of thinks because right now they just don't have an offense, and then their defense didn't show up to play. So all of a sudden they don't have anything, and they had a punt block. So special teams 0 for 3. They didn't win a single phase of the game.
Yeah, and they took out DJ, put in Klubnik, and then he goes and turns the ball over, and they yank him right back out there. So it just was not a good look. But when you talk about Notre Dame, Notre Dame's hot right now, and they are they're playing some good football. I wish that Notre Dame today could play the Ohio State team today. I think it would be a different situation than it was, coming up that first game of the year. And then you take a look at LSU, the same thing when you were just talking about they have a new head coach. You got to get used to a system. And Brian Kelly's gone down there, and he has those guys believing right now. Jaden Daniels was not playing very well at the beginning of the year, and now you've got a really, really good Jaden Daniels. And look at Brian Kelly. He was just like, look, I'm going for this win. This is Alabama. Everybody said there's no way. Even David Pollock, comes in there and says, Brian Kelly and LSU, they're not ready to beat Alabama right now. And Brian Kelly basically gives the middle finger to David Pollock and all those other guys that didn't think that they were prepared to come through and win. So I do think that right now those teams are playing some really, really good football, and they deserve to move up. But then again, like I said, it's it's those things that hurt them earlier in the season that's actually coming to bite them.
I want to wrap this thing up real fast. One last thought here. What is your thoughts on a college football playoff without Bama and more than likely without Clemson? What are y'all's thoughts on that? I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I mean, I think it's part of the reason that people push for the playoff, and I think it's one of the hard things about the expansion because right now with the expansion, Alabama's still in, and so is probably Clemson, and I think that's the thing that that's the thing I worry about with the 12 team system coming in is just that you're talking about Alabama's 2 loss. They're if they win out 10-2, they're in. If LSU's probably in, Ole Miss is probably in, Tennessee's probably in, Georgia's probably in. You're gonna have 6 SEC teams staring you in the face at the automatic bid Tulane. Like, okay, good luck. That's a loss right out of the gate. Like, automatic win whoever, USC, Oregon, UCLA, whoever you want to pick there. Not saying that Oregon has impressed for sure, but I don't know. the 4 feels good. I'm still upset that we're going to 12. That just seemed like a really, really big jump really quickly.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
Juan, what do you think about Clemson and Bama not being in the playoffs?
I mean, I love it. I mean, this year Clemson is trash. That's just me. Even though they play a weak schedule, they still have UNC left. Alabama, again, like Kobe said, everybody was touting them as just the greatest team on earth, and it's just not happening for them. So it's great to see. I think it's great for college football. You're going to have 2 new people in. I think Oregon gets in. They have a tough game against Utah. So they've got to beat Utah. If they beat Utah, they win the Pac-12. I think that they get in, and they would love to have a rematch against Georgia. The difference is going to be, I think it may be 56-3 instead of 49-3, because we let up on off the gas a little bit. But if we have an opportunity to play Oregon again, I think it's going to absolutely just be a beatdown.
Especially with the focus of a playoff. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hot take. Next time you play Oregon, you could be playing a Heisman finalist.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If one thing Bo Nix has done for us this year, it has been dominate after we dominated him, because they've looked unreal, and to say that he hasn't looked like one of the best 4 players in the country, I mean, you're just not watching football.
You're not wrong there.
Big game. 2 passing, 2 rushing, and then 1 receiving last week. I mean, and he's averaging 4, 5, 6 touchdowns a game. I mean, he's and I bet you he's so happy to not be at Auburn right now.
And that stat line screams, we have a guy that we think could be in the Heisman talk. 3 different kinds of a touchdown in one game. It's like, what can't this guy do?
Right.
With that being said, folks, there's a lot of college football left, but we're going to wrap this thing up for today. So let your Vol fans know just exactly how it feels to smoke that Vol back, by the way. Shouts out to Dog Nation for coming in hot and heavy in Sanford Stadium. You answered the call, and we come away with a dub. And I think all of us can say that we played a big part in that. So shouts out to that. Let's celebrate. It's Victory Monday, folks. You just beat the number 1 team in the country. No biggie. Now you sit there, we wait to see what happens with the college football playoffs. With that being said, Juan, Kobe, let's wrap this thing up and get ready for Wednesday's show, sir. What say y'all?
Yes, sir. I'm
See you on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun, folks. I'm just going to leave it there. With that being said, have a great day. And, as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.